Okay YouTubers, as promised, here's just a quick overview on my 6x2x2 Aquariums for Life tank in high gloss white. I've put the radions on at the moment on a 12K setting because the camera's not very good at picking up blue, so things will look really white, but my standard thing is blue and all the colours fluoresce and everything, so ignore it for the moment. Here's my colour scheme on the Radion for the Eco Smart Live. As you can see, it starts at 1 o'clock, slowly goes up, and there's different points. So at its highest point, I click on that, you will see that the colours are like that, and you'll see at different stages. They change the Kelvin rate, so the Kelvin I think on that is about 11, so which is okay. And then it goes off into moon phase, and then I've got the Apex Fusion running as well with some probes, skinner cleaner, heaters, tons, auto top ups already on, temperature, pH, and obviously the alt probe. So just a quick rundown. Got the Radion Gen 3 Pro. These lights are pretty awesome, to be honest. Got the hanging kit. Is what I did here. I had to order multiple hanging kits, both the long, short rail, and I think another one, because this design you can't do according to their website. So I made my own design up. This is what I wanted, was a Radion long ways in the middle, and then one sort of that way back to front, and the same on this side. So the coverage, because of the wear in the middle, as you can see, it gives pretty good light coverage across the tank, which is what I wanted. It's funny that they don't do a kit to accommodate that, but so I just made my own out of purchasing different rail kits, and it seems to work. Down here we've got the little control station, so we've got the tons auto top up. We've got the Apex LCD controller. We've got the quiet drive controller for the MP40, and you can see the quiet drive there. And it is seriously quiet. You can hardly hear it, even on full whack, compared to the older generation. Another on that side. Another controller box and the ballasts for the Ecotech radios, and then just some cable management by yours truly. So yeah, got about, I think, 60 kilos, maybe 70 kilos of live rock in this tank. I've just started getting the frags sort of ticking over. I'm using Ecotech cold glue to stick them down. As I say, the camera never picks up quality of SPS's. I mean, some of these really pop once I put the blues on. You can see just a few of my frags. That one there, that one there, stripped straight away when I put it in the tank, so I didn't think it acclimatised properly. And a couple of frags from a good friend of mine. And yeah, hammer coral, and then my Maxima clam, which, if I can get a view from the top, is awesome. The sand is West Caribbean Reef. No, sorry, it's Fuji Pink. Yeah, Fuji Pink sand. It's quite nice actually. And then this is my Lopez tang. I think that's the name for it. Picked that up the other day. It eats like a pig. That's why there's loads of seaweed floating around the tank at the moment, because it's having its dinner. So crap's going everywhere, getting stuck in the pumps. But it'll, throughout the next day, it will eat it off. But amazing colours there. Really nice fish. So, into the engine room, and I'll get a torch. I'll just open up all the doors. I must say, the tank quality and the build quality, the cabinet quality from Aquariums for Life simply is unreal. I mean, had the metal stand made, so it was quite higher, so I've got loads of room to work when I'm in the sump. There's a sort of a mistake I made on one of my older tanks, is I didn't have enough room to sort of work with. But yeah, you can see from the quality of the doors and bits and pieces, it's really good stuff. So, onto the tank. So we've got the down pipes that come down. So the two on the left there, this one and that one, that's the emergency overflow that comes down. This one's the return, so it comes down into a ball valve that's slightly throttled to control the height in the weir, comes down and then into the first section, and then there's a bubble trap there, goes down and then up into the skimmer zone. And the skimmer is a Vertex Alpha 250, which is just simply probably one of the best skimmers I've ever used. The foam inside is just insane. I don't know if you guys can see that there. It's like a nice creamy froth. I've got it on a slightly wet skim at the moment, just because I run the BioPill, so I like to skim wet. And then at the top I've got the self-cleaning head. So inside, at around 9 PM every day, you'll see it. You can see it there. It does a couple of revolutions for a few minutes, but that's pretty much just, you know, I've never changed this cup since I put it on. It's, as you can see, it's sparkling clean, so it's obviously doing its job. I've got an emergency heater, which is set at 24 degrees, I think, something like that. Just comes on in case the apex dies or for whatever reason. Then onto some reactors. So I've got an H2O reactor, H2Ocean reactor, which is full of carbon. You can see that there. Carbon in there. I need to get that clean out because it doesn't look to be moving as much. And then I've got the FR512 Deltec, which is running PO4 media, which is the Seachem PO4 media, which is aluminium based. I did start off with the Raufoss, and I've always used Raufoss in all of my tanks. I just got fed up, to be honest, with, you know, the rinsing through of it, the fine dust that goes everywhere. It's all in the sump, and it just done my head in. So a friend of mine said, look, you know, try some of this stuff. So I gave it a whirl. I've been running it now for probably, what, 2 months, maybe a month and a half, and it's doing a fantastic job. The PO4s, you know, it's right down, hardly detectable, to be honest. So yeah, it's just, and there's no mess. You can just put it out, you change it, boom, back in. You know, you're back up and running. There's no rinse in it. It's really good stuff, and I think for 1,000 litres, it's only like 30 quid or something. So yeah, highly recommended. This is what I set up today, which is the Core 5th 5-channel doser. And then I've got this acrylic plastic mount that sort of bolts into the tank at the top to keep it nice and high up. So yeah, I need to just play with the software, plug this into the baling chambers. I don't know what I'm going to dose yet, because I'm looking to get a calcium reactor, but you know, it's always handy to put, you know, iodine on there or some other chemical that we need. This is what I did today, a little mod. So I had this spare probe holder that a good friend of mine, Chippia, he made for me. So I had it spare because I already went out and bought a couple of probe holders the other day. There's another one spare. So I thought, yeah, just glue it onto that, because they recommend that this unit has to remain vertical. So I was quite out of space in my sump. So I thought, yeah, why not hang it on the side? So obviously got some ozone tubing there. I'm going to connect that into the skimmer ozone port, which is down there, around the back. You see that little black knob there, and then obviously that will, you know, kick off the ozone. But at the moment, I mean, the tank is crystal clear. I'll just show you. This is without running anything apart from carbon, and you know, it's crystal clear. You can see right down the end. It's so clear, it's unbelievable. So I don't know whether I'm going to actually bother running UV or ozone. Maybe if I have some issues with some fish. I was in two minds to set up a quarantine. I've got another little tank over there, but to be honest, you know, sticking that fish in a quarantine, I'm probably going to have a similar sort of half the size system. I don't have the space, so slap on the wrist for me. I took a chance, and it came from a coppered tank anyway, and it looks really healthy. It's eating loads, so you know, time will tell. We'll just have a little bit of an experiment with that one, I think. Then at the back, I have the Apex magnet and all the Apex probes, so temperature, pH, and oh, I'm going to get a salt one as well, and maybe some other toys that I don't need, but I just like buying crap. We have up here, I just labelled these, return and then drain. So in this system, when I built this house, I put a drain pipe in this wall. So basically the idea is I shut the return off, open up the drain, it then creates a siphon from the return pumps up there that you can see under the water level, and it sucks down, that's probably about nearly 10%, straight to the drain, close the blue valve, open up the return, back online, and then I've got some salted water in one of these. So that's RO on the left, and then that's going to be full of salt. So the idea being that I'm going to set up some automation that when it detects, you know, a certain level drop or rapid drop to a certain point, the salt will turn on, and basically that'll be almost an automatic water change. These are 80 litres each, so that's, my tank is about 700 to 800 litres after displacement, so that'll be 10%, so that'll be perfect. Okay, just go through some other stuff. And then here I have the Deltec FR, I think that's the 512. This is running H2 Ocean bio pellets. You can see why I bought them in 2 batches. So the bottom's dark, the top's light, but they're tumbling nicely. Obviously, you know, nitrate and nitrite 0 in the tank, but there's nothing in there really until I start getting heavily stocked. But everything's really cool at the moment. And then here I've got the plug board, which connects to, so the left hand side goes to one fuse and the right hand side goes to another fuse, and they're on a separate RCD from the house, so if the missus decides to plug her hairdryer in and throw it in the bath, it's not going to affect my fish tank. There's the Apex controller, which is the brains of the operation, all the probes and crap plugs into that. And then I've just labelled up, you know, MP40 right, MP40 left, just in case I need to phone the missus one day and she needs to turn things on or off. And then up here we've got the Apex plug bar, which is a really shit design, to be honest. As you can see, you know, in the UK we have 3-pin plugs and some come big, so that socket there is now wasted. It's quite difficult to plug things in that you need. It's good, it's, you know, it's an amazing bit of kit, but it just means that I can only use 3 out of 6 sockets. So I'm going to have to buy another one and then daisy chain it up if I wanted to do more automation, which I probably will do with my salt changer pump and bits and pieces. There's the drainage line from the red line is the drainage line from the RO unit. I built water into the wall there, so that just plugs directly into the RO, so I just turn that blue knob on and it starts RO production. And then if I show you my RO system, so a couple of tubes there, so that's the water feed into the RO. So I've got a 6-stage RO system from Osmotics, which is, you know, those guys are really cool. So we obviously got, you know, carbon, I don't know what the other 2 are, can't remember the names. I think it's like a pre-sediment filter, some foam cartridges, which then goes into 3 membranes, which means that the wastewater is cut down by over 50%, because you think that when your wastewater is coming out, it only goes through one membrane, then it's out. But this wastewater is just continuously being circled, so it goes through, you know, sort of 3 membranes there, and then comes out by this blue pipe into, now this is where the magic happens, 3 DI pods, and then out into the RO dump. And I've got a inline TDS meter there, but TDS is pretty much, well, it is always 0. I haven't changed these pods yet, and I've done a lot of water production, so it's obviously doing its job. Once TDS starts creeping up a little bit, probably around the sort of 2 to 3 mark, I'll swap it out. I did buy a big batch of DI resin from eBay, which does the job, so all cool there. And then that's the interface of the Apex. I had an aircon unit installed just in case things get hot, but even on that hottest day we recently had, temperatures were in the 30s. You know, the tank never went above 27, so generally this room is pretty cool as it is. And then I've just got my old nano cube, which I've just got some seaweed growing in there for the new fish, which I'm gonna hopefully eat all of that before it even has time to culture or grow. Here I've got a Red Dragon Mini Speedy 3 8,000 litre per hour pump. Did a video on this on YouTube recently. I just haven't had a chance to install this beast. Yeah, that's going to be my new return pump. So the idea being, it comes with this controller box that you can control the speed of the pump. So that when I click feed mode, the MP40s will slow down, the return pump will slow down, just to save all the food and crap going into the wear and then getting caught in my filter floss. So yeah, that's the general idea. I'll just show you the filter floss I did. So this is a sump design that I designed myself. Nicked this idea off a couple of users off Ultimate Reef. So basically the water has to pass, so once it comes out there, it then goes through this floss. You can see it's like a waterfall. So that means that the whole tank's water volume passes through this floss and into the return pump chamber. And what that means is, obviously that's probably why my water is crystal clear. It just captures so much crap. And I change that out probably every 4 days. Maybe I'll do it every week. Generally, it's everything is looking pretty much okay. Levels DKH wise, I'm struggling with. I run at about 8 to 9 DKH. Calcium's about 440. Magnesium's in the 1500 range. But the DKH, I mean, if I'm not on top of that, it can drop to 6 within like a week and a half. So I presume where the coralline algae is trying to form and the corals are growing, and it's just, you know, generally settling down, it's just sucking up KH like you can't believe. Hence the need for some sort of calcium reactor. So yeah, that's next on the Christmas list. But yeah, that's pretty much my tank. Got a few little products here that I'm testing, coral colours, give those a go. I've got my fish drawer, which is just full of chemicals. I'm using the Red Sea powder at the moment to control the levels. I've got Phosguard. Just stocked up on, you know, test kits and bits and pieces, just so I'm on top of things. Probably test the tank every week at the moment. But yeah, things are looking good. Oh, these were the baling containers made by Pete Chippia. Really cool. Obviously, you know, engraved. They've even got you know, litre markers on there, so you can see how much you're dosing. So, you know, really good stuff. So yeah, look him up. He's on the Salty Box. Yeah, he makes good stuff. And obviously this pump is controllable via the Apex, and I've got all the modules for that to talk to the Apex. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. There's my tank. Hopefully that fish will start shitting everywhere and feeding the corals. I do dose Red Sea A and B every day. I do 10 mil. As I say, this is an 800 tank, so that's under the recommended dosage. But we just see how it goes. You know, I don't like dosing things at full whack and then realising I've got a problem. So I tend to do things by 50% and then gauge how the tank reacts and then adjust it accordingly, which I think is probably a good idea. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that video, and hit the thumbs up below if you like it, or add any comments, and I'll come back to you. Or just view my threads on Ultimate Reef, or the Salted Box username is Tom Coleman. You'll find me on there if you want to ask me any questions. Cheers.